Communication is a broad field that draws from many academic disciplines. This interdisciplinary perspective provides useful training and experience for students that can translate into many career fields. Communication is the process of generating meaning by sending and receiving symbolic cues that are influenced by multiple contexts. Ancient Greeks like Aristotle and Plato started a rich tradition of the study of rhetoric in the Western world more than 2,000 years ago. There are 5 forms of communication: intrapersonal, interpersonal, group, public, and mass communication. Interpersonal communication is communication within oneself and occurs only inside our heads. Interpersonal communication is communication between people whose lives mutually influence one another and typically occurs in dyads, which means pairs. Group communication occurs when 3 or more people communicate to achieve a shared goal. Public communication is sender-focused and typically occurs when one person conveys information to an audience. Mass communication occurs when messages are sent to large audiences using print or electronic media. Communication did not become a distinct field of study with academic departments until the 1900s, but it is now a thriving discipline with many subfields of study. Communication models are not complex enough to truly capture all that takes place in a communication encounter, but they can help us examine the various steps in the process in order to better understand our communication and the communication of others. The model of communication describes communication as a one-way, linear process in which a sender encodes a message and transmits it through a channel to a receiver who decodes it. The transmission of the message may be disrupted by environmental or semantic noise. This model is usually too simple to capture FTF interactions, but can be usefully applied to computer-mediated communications. The interaction model of communication describes communication as a two-way process in which participants alternate positions as sender and receiver and generate meaning by sending and receiving feedback within physical and psychological contexts. This model captures the interactive aspects of communication, but still doesn't account for how communication constructs or realities are influenced by social and cultural contexts. The transaction model of communication describes communication as a process in which communicators generate social realities within social, relational, and cultural contexts. This model includes participants who are simultaneously senders and receivers, and accounts for how communication constructs our realities, relationships, and communities. Increasing your knowledge of communication and improving your communication skills can positively affect your academic, professional, personal, and civic lives. In terms of academics, research shows that students who study communications and improve their communication skills are less likely to drop out of school and more likely to have a high grade point average. Professionally, employers desire employees with good communication skills, and employees with good listening skills are more likely to get promoted. Personally, communication skills help us maintain satisfying relationships. Communication meets our physical needs by helping us maintain physical and psychological well-being, our instrumental needs by helping us achieve short and long-term goals, our relational needs by helping us initiate, maintain, and terminate relationships, and our identity needs by allowing us to present ourselves to others in particular ways. Communication is a process that includes messages that vary in terms of conscious thought and intention. Communication is also irreversible and unrepeatable. Communication is guided by culture and context. We learn to communicate using systems that vary based on culture and language. Rules and norms influence the routines and rituals within our communication. Communication ethics vary by culture and context and involves the negotiation of and reflection on our actions regarding what we think is right and wrong. Communication competence refers to the knowledge of effective and appropriate communication patterns and the ability to use and adapt that knowledge in various contexts. To be a competent communicator, you should have cognitive knowledge about communication based on observation and instruction, understand that individual, social, and cultural contexts affect competence, and be able to adapt to those various contexts. Getting integrated. The NCAA notes that developing communication competence in speaking and writing will help college students in academic, professional, and civic contexts. Levels of communication competence include unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. In order to develop communication competence, you must become a more mindful communicator and a higher self-monitor. Communication apprehension, or CA, refers to fear or anxiety experienced by a person due to real or imagined communication with another person or persons. Public speaking anxiety is a form of CA that specifically focuses on anxiety about giving public presentations. Both are commonly experienced by most people and can be managed using various strategies. In this chapter, we've learned about communication history and forms, the communication process, the communication principles, and communication competence. If you have any questions about the topics covered in this chapter, please send an email. The contact information is listed in your course syllabus.